Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are going to be talking about eclipses that are going to be happening in the month of March.
We have the two eclipses. We have one on the 14th of March, which is the lunar eclipse. It's a total lunar eclipse. I'll just bring that up. And yeah, that will be happening on the 14th of March. It's a total lunar eclipse at 23 degrees Virgo, 56 minutes.
Close to the South Node.
Yeah. And South Node eclipses tend to be a little bit more challenging. This eclipse is in the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. And at the time of the eclipse, Mercury is in Aries, 9 degrees Aries, and it's stationing. It's just about to start its retrograde phase. So that's unfortunate because Mercury is in a sign that cannot be seen by the eclipse degree. So it's kind of like it can't assist this eclipse, and it's also stationing, so it's incredibly slow, and it's just about to go backwards. And it's also going to meet up with Neptune, so I imagine all sorts of hijinks can ensue. So yeah, that will be interesting.
And the nodes are as well stationing. And my experience is when the nodes are stationing, and they station a lot of the times, but a lot of things can happen when just those moments when the nodes are stationing.
So the eclipse is in Virgo, but opposite the eclipse, we have Saturn with the sun. So Saturn is opposing this eclipse degree, which Saturn's also known for putting on the brakes. And we're already talking about the ruler of this eclipse being stationary, like it's come to, or it appears to have come to a standstill. And now we've got Saturn with it. And Neptune, which is always fun, foggy. Yeah, so it will be interesting. Lunar eclipses often associated with endings or yeah, completions. It could be a high point for many people, but as Donna pointed out, this is a south node eclipse, so it may be some sort of ending for a lot of people. So if you have natal planets or chart points like your ascendant or your MC, for example, close to 23 degrees of mutable signs, so that's Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you may feel the impact of this eclipse more than other people.
Whatever you were doing about 6 months ago, this could be part of it. Whatever seeds you were planting, this will become to fruition. But eclipses are, and this is the lunar eclipse, one of the first eclipses we're going to have. We're going to have four this year, but just two in the springtime and then two in the fall. And eclipses tend to take things out of your life and walk things into your life. So you might be having new things, but you very well might be having endings of things as well.
So yeah, this is the second eclipse in the Pisces Virgo eclipses. We had one last year around about September 18th. The last one will be not until February 20th, 2027, that eclipse series ends. But before it ends, the Leo Aquarius ones will have popped in. But yeah, so this is the second eclipse. You may have got some idea of this eclipse series starting around about September last year, around about September 18th. So that could be interesting. And Mars is sextile this eclipse.
Uranus is training it.
Yes. Oh my, and closely.
So
That's the first aspect the moon's going to make after the eclipse from the looks of it. Oh my. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Could be interesting. Could be fun.
I believe this eclipse day is the day where the United States must present its budget,
Oh,
which a lot of times politically it likes to shut it down or threaten the other party that they will shut it down if things don't go their way. And there's been some aggressive moves in the political arena of late. So this will be definitely interesting for the budget to be due on the same day as an eclipse, and
Oh,
Uranus is lurking around. And
yeah.
it's a south node. Yeah, you can't get a better firestorm than this one.
Oh, particularly when you think about the South Nodes associated with taking away. Oh my goodness. Interesting. Oh, actually, I'm just looking at Jupiter there on the chart. That's at 13 Gemini. Isn't the ascendant of the US chart that we often use? I can't think of the name.
Sagittarius.
Is it
9
30?
degrees Sagittarius.
Oh,
I was just looking at that. Or 18 degrees Sagittarius. It's in Sagittarius, though.
yeah, let me bring the
I
Sibley up.
like Sagittarius better than Gemini. Not that I'm prejudiced, but Sagittarius is that more expansive look out there, where Gemini tends to narrow down.
Yeah, 12 degrees. So Jupiter will be. Actually, let's have a look at the eclipse for when is the eclipse?
And there we
Yeah,
are. So we have the Sibley chart on the inside. So that is when the original document or declaration went into or was signed. Very close to, and we have the lunar eclipse on the outside wheel. And I'm looking at that Neptune up in the top of the chart there, Neptune and Moon right there. So whatever is going to happen, we're not going to see it, or there's going to be confusion around it, as well as Mars. It's all in that jumble of, there's a stellium there on the Sibley chart with Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, and Mercury in Cancer. So that Mars has been traveling back and forth over those planets for this time where Mars has been going into retrograde. Mars has just went direct. I want to say it was at 17 degrees. Mars was when
yeah,
it
I think
went
you're
when it
right.
went forward. Yeah, 17 degrees 0 minutes. It went forward. So it hasn't been that long.
No.
And it's re-going over that stellium in the eighth house for the United States.
Yeah, interesting that this eclipse degree is right on that Neptune and in the 10th house of, the leader. Interesting. We got Saturn opposite down in the 4th house. Interesting too that we have Venus retrograde in the 5th house, which is often associated with population growth and that with mundane charts. And there's been a lot of talk about women's reproductive health and Venus retrograde there with Mercury just about to retrograde too. When does Mercury retrograde? The 15th. So the next day, yeah.
It's darn near a Neptune opposition.
Mm,
A little bit of a wide orb, 7 degrees, but still.
yeah. Jupiter in the 7th house. In a mundane chart, the 7th house is your allies, but also enemies, isn't it?
Your open enemies, yeah.
And unfortunately, Jupiter in Gemini is in detriment. But yeah, interesting. Maybe some more news on tariffs or something similar at the time.
Well, be still my heart, because we're taping this on February 28th in the evening on the East Coast. So Lynda and I have always been doing our things very much opposite. Where I was, it was early morning for me, but late for her. This is a little bit opposite. So it's late for me and it's early for her.
So shall we have a look and give what we think people can expect from this full moon lunar eclipse? And it's a total lunar eclipse. So in Detroit, it will be about just before 3 a.m. So it'll be nice and dark then. You'll be able to see it. Should be like a blood red moon. Down here in Australia, yeah, it'll be daylight. We won't get it. And we recommend listening to your ascendant sign rather than your sun or your moon sign. And we've done a video all about that. We've also done videos about lunar eclipses and solar eclipses, and we'll put links in the various parts of this video.
Right. And so if you are a Virgo rising, this full moon or the eclipse is actually going to be taking place in your first house. This is not really a time. I mean, if you want to change out your wardrobe, this would be a good time to like change out your wardrobe. You're doing something to get rid of things out of your life, probably more so because that south node's right there. So you're either wanting to get rid of like maybe a good time to thin out your wardrobe if that's what you are can gear up to do, and things that are things that are coming to fruition with just about yourself. Maybe some things that you're getting rid of if you're trying to lighten up your possessions in your house and get rid of things. This would be a good time to purge those extra items that you have lying around.
And if you're a Leo ascendant, this lunar eclipse is happening in your second house. So there may be high points, culminations, or endings. And if you have planets, natal planets, around about 23 degrees of the mutable signs, which is Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, there may be some shocking events to do with your personal finances. There's also a lot going on in the opposite house of shared finances and resources, which is, money you share with a partner. It's inheritances, it's debts and loans and all that sort of thing as well. So there's Saturn there, which is quite difficult. There's also Neptune there, and Neptune can blur the boundaries. So yeah, finances are likely to be very strongly on your mind. But yeah, particularly if you have those planets around about 23 degrees, there may be some shocking elements. We've also got, as Donna pointed out earlier, Uranus. That's the next aspect that this moon is going to make, and Uranus is shocking and surprising. That's up in your 10th house of career and public reputation. Maybe for some, there's a promotion at work, but it is a south node, a lunar eclipse, and south node is often associated with taking away. So there may be a need to cut back on personal expenses. Also, that's Saturn in the 8th house of shared finances and resources, and Saturn is also about limitations and restrictions. So unfortunately for some, there may be a need to kind of pump the brakes on spending or something similar at this time.
And if you are a Cancer rising, you've been going through a lot of revisioning things or re-going over some other issues and situations. This is going to be happening in your third house. This eclipse or full moon. It really is a full moon, but it is an eclipse because it's so close to the nodes. And if you want to hear more about that, Lynda and I did a um, another eclipse episode that explains how close the nodes are and that type of thing. But this, if you are a Cancer rising, this is going to be happening in your third house. So this will be things that are coming in and out of your life. It could be a car. It could be how you travel, a short travel. So that's what I'm thinking about, as well as anything that has to do with like your family, your close neighbors, your community, your brothers and sisters as well. Early education, things will be coming in or out of your life with this if you are a Cancer rising.
And if you're a Gemini ascendant, this full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse, is happening in your 4th house. The 4th house is our family, our parents in particular. It's our home and living situation. It is real estate matters. So it may be that this is something that concerns your parents more than you. Something could be a high point, culmination. It could be, finally you've sold that house, or you're finally moving into that house. It could be somebody leaving the household, maybe they're moving out. Particularly, for parents, maybe a child's moving out, maybe you are moving out of a parental house. And yeah, there is Saturn and up there with the sun in the 10th house. Maybe there's more work or career focus. Maybe there's a need to, yeah, maybe spend more time at work. There's also Neptune up there though. And you have Uranus in the 12th house of our undoing, and that is making a strong trine to this lunar eclipse, or the lunar eclipse is making a strong trine to it. And the next aspect that the moon's going to make is to that Uranus. So 12th house is our undoing. So if there's something you're considering, it's a little bit dicey around about this time, maybe don't. It could be come back and slap you. But, you know, people are going to do what they're going to do, aren't they? But yeah, there may be some shocking events around about this time. With eclipses, it's not always on the date either, for a good month leading up to and after an eclipse. But more likely to be significant if you have planets, natal planets, around about 23 degrees of the mutable signs. So that is 23 degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius.
And if you're a Taurus rising, this is going to happen. This full moon and eclipse is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house are the things that you do for fun, the things that you create, as well as your children. This is going to have something to do with something will be diminishing on that with this eclipse, or possibly getting something. This is going to, it has to do with the fifth house matters, and that does have to do with your children or things you create. So if you're doing some kind of an art project, it might be an art project where you take away something, to leave, the art there. I don't know, could be something like that.
And if you're an Aries ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your sixth house. Sixth house is our pets. It's those that work for us. That can include employees. It can be people you supervise at work. It could be just somebody you have in doing something for you. It could be a tradesperson doing work, or it is also ill health. This is a south node eclipse, which does tend to take away. There is a lot going on opposite this eclipse, because full moon is when the moon and sun are opposite, but also with the sun we have Saturn, which is, restrictions and limitations. And we also have Neptune, which is a little bit kind of foggy. It's a bit blurry. It's hard to see when Neptune's in the picture. And yeah, that's in your 12th house of, amongst other things, hidden illness and or unseen illness. And yeah, there could be some mental health issues going on at this time. Maybe for some this will be wrapping up or culmination of an illness, hopefully. With eclipses, particularly if you do have planets around about 23 degrees of the mutables, so that's Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini, it may be more impactful for you. Yeah, eclipses can sometimes eclipse things or people in or out of your life. Maybe at this time, if a pet hasn't been well, this may be a time when you're saying goodbye to it, or maybe it's been given away, or you have to give it away to, do something else. Yeah, but, maybe for some, this is the end of an illness. And with the South Node there, maybe there will be some cost, maybe, if there's been a serious illness, you may never recover that full health, but that doesn't mean that you can't, still be healthy. But, maybe, like I'm thinking like an athlete, who has some sort of like an Achilles tendon injury, they can still live a full life, but maybe they'll never be able to perform at the same level, or something similar like that. I'm all
And
sunshine
if
and
you
light.
Well, there's a lot of energy with all of these outer planets moving signs and stuff, and so I think a lot of people. I don't think you're like far off. I think that there's a lot of people that sense that there's a lot of big shifts coming. So this is just the astrology of it. So this is how it happens. You're a Pisces rising. This eclipse is going to be happening in your seventh house if you are a Pisces rising, and it's things that it's either your one-on-one relationships. It could also be your open enemy. So maybe your open enemy has decided to take a trip to somewhere far away from you, so it doesn't have to be bothered. That would be a very pleasant expression of an eclipse, and getting rid of or an open enemy is leaving. So that would be a nice thing. See it with that Neptune right across. Things might be a little confusing if you're a Pisces rising. For sure, that Neptune's right there in your first house. So, and it's wanting to leave. So whatever kind of changes it's wanting to make, it's doing them to you now. You might be feeling a little bit of that, but this is happening in your seventh house, the house of the one other, where things might be coming to fruition, to culmination, or on the eclipse side, either coming in or leaving your life of the seventh house issues, the one-on-one. Hopefully your open enemies are leaving.
I'm just looking at that Uranus in the third though of the local neighborhood. Maybe they move, but they move next door. It's like, God damn. And if you're an Aquarius ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is in your eighth house. The eighth house is shared finances and resources. It's other people's money. So this could be a partner's money. It could be a business partner that you share finances or resources with. It could be inheritances, it's taxes, it's insurance, it's loans and debts. It's also anxiety and worry. There is a lot going on in the opposite house of your personal finances and resources, which also includes Saturn, which, is restrictions and limitations. So maybe you've been struggling perhaps with personal finances or resources. There's also Neptune in that house, which is kind of blurring things. Uh, maybe you just can't get a handle on those personal finances and resources. Hmm. So yeah, there could be a high point, culmination, or ending to do with shared finances and resources. This could be that you have been in some sort of partnership, whether that's business or personal, and some sort of agreement is reached at this time with the South Node, with that um, full moon eclipse. It may be less. It may be that you're actually paying out too, because the South Node is associated with a lessening. Or it could be, you have an inheritance and it's coming through at this time, and but maybe it's not as much as you anticipated, or there's taxes and different fees you've got to pay, and it's more than you expected. There is Uranus in the fourth house of home and family and real estate matters. Also, that this moon is going to go up and trine soon after. So that's interesting. Maybe for some, this has something to do with real estate matters, or maybe it's something to do with your parents. And it's more applicable if you have planets around about 23 degrees of the mutable signs, which is Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius.
If you are a Capricorn rising, this eclipse and full moon will be happening in your ninth house. The ninth house is, the house of higher education, spirituality to some extent. It has the occult things, the mystical things, publishing, legal matters, the law. Is all run by the ninth house, as well as foreigners. So things could be eclipsing out of your house or out of your out of your those themes if you are a Capricorn rising of, you know, foreign people or uh, publishing, any kind of legal issues. You might have less of them if you are a Capricorn rising. That would be a good expression of that.
And if you're a Sagittarius ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this is a very visible house, and when the moon is full, it's very visible. So could be a lot of attention on you at this time. It is a south node eclipse, so there could be an element of lessening or taking away at this time. There is a lot also going on in the opposite house of your 4th house of home and family. There is Saturn down there, which is about restrictions and limitations. Maybe for some people, particularly if you have planets around about 23 degrees of the mutables, which is Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, or Gemini, maybe there's a need to step back a little bit at work because of what's going on in the home, or maybe to do with parents or real estate matters. And there's also the moon is going to trine Uranus in your 6th house of, amongst other things, ill health. So if there is any niggling signs of, that's not quite right in your body, definitely get it checked out. You don't want to be blindsided by that. And Uranus can be a little bit like that. It's shocking and surprising. Might not have anything to do with that, so don't stress. But, if things just don't feel quite right, get it checked out. Could have something to do with an employee, could have something to do with a pet, could be just daily routines. Career focus, for some, there will be a culmination or a wrapping up of something to do with career and public reputation. That could be that you're leaving a job. It could be that a boss or authority figure at work is leaving. It could be that, you've been treading the stage at the local theatrical society and, that's wrapping up at this time, that lessening, so you won't be getting as much attention, or, you're not in front of the public as much.
And if you are a Scorpio rising, this full moon or eclipse will happen in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of your hopes and dreams, as well as the people that support you. So you might have something lost, some kind of loss. Like if you're changing from your indoor volleyball league here in the north to an outside softball league, this could be this time where you're changing and you're having some kind of loss, something that's walking out of your life. And this is how that would be. Is the 11th house is the house of our hopes and dreams, as well as our groups and associations. So this might be some kind of a loss that you're just changing from one group to another.
And if you're a Libra ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 12th house. 12th house is the house of our undoing. It's places of confinement, such as prisons and hospitals. It is places of exile. It is places of seclusion. Can be working behind the scenes. So this is a south node eclipse, so it does tend to be about taking away. So maybe for some of you've needed to go away, whether that's just taking yourself out of the social scene to work on something behind the scenes, whether you've been in prison or hospital. There's a lot going on in the 6th house of, amongst other things, illness. So for some people, maybe you need to go to hospital and have something removed. That would be a very literal interpretation of this with the south node with the moon, but that's not going to be applicable for everybody. For, unless you have natal planets around about 23 degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you may not really notice this at all. This may be just a normal full moon for you. So you may be wrapping up things to do with addictions or bad habits. It could be just stepping back from behind the scenes and, yeah. but a lot going on in that sixth house. Also, could be some shocking or surprising news coming from the eighth house of shared finances and resources, because that's the first aspect that the moon's going to make afterwards. And Uranus is pretty much a big hitter. And yeah, it's closely configured to this lunar eclipse. Okay, so that is the lunar eclipse. We also have the solar eclipse coming up on the 29th of March, I believe. Do you want to tell us about this solar eclipse?
Well, the solar eclipse is going to happen at 9 degrees in 0 minutes of Aries. So anything that is, solar eclipses have things to do with, it's part of the Saros cycle of Bernadette Brady's. Lynda and I go on the Bernadette Brady's Eagle and the Lark Predictive Astrology, her
Yes.
book. And it's with the Saros cycle of 9 north. It's 9 new north, so there must be one already going on. It has the aspects of a Venus Mercury conjunction. And it says that this is a very physically expressive Saros cycle or Saros series. Accidents, great physical effort, violence, or any sudden physical events. There's that Uranus that was haunting the other one. These can be experienced positively, as, for example, the first time snow skiing, or it can be felt negatively in terms of accidents and so on. The approach to take when this series is affecting a chart is not to hide away, but to undertake some physical activity with an ever watchful eye to safety. And that's from Bernadette Brady's book, right how she wrote it. So, and that is the Saros cycle of the eclipses, and how and each one is new, and they start from the top or the bottom of the earth, and that's how they go around in a spiral. For more information, Lynda and I did a eclipse video for you to get more information on how those eclipses start to form and work themselves through.
And eclipses, solar eclipses tend to go in 18-year cycles, which is the Saros cycles, which Donna was talking about. So for some people, you may find that this has correlations to events from 18 years or 36 years or even further back. So the years that those eclipses occurred was 1917, 1935, 1953, 1971, 1989, 2007, and yeah, this eclipse series, because as Donna said, they run for about 1300 years, started on August 21st, 1664, and it will run until September 18th, 2908. So yeah, I suppose we're in the latter half of it, but yeah, oh well, maybe not. Maybe we're smack bang in the middle. It's a long time though. But yes, very interesting sounding series. I mean, it is an Aries, so you got your reckless abandon there. Okay. And I can say that because I'm an Aries. Let's bring up the chart. It is a solar partial eclipse, so it's not a full-on eclipse, but still very interesting. At 9 degrees, looks like exactly, of Aries, 9 degrees 0 minutes. Where is Mars? At 22. It's squaring the eclipse by sign, but at least you can see it, so it can give some assistance. And it is in Cancer, which is a sign of its fall, which, is not the best, but, at least it's not retrograde. So we do have that. It's at least moving. What sort of speed is it up to? It's still not up to full speed because it's not long come out of retrograde. It's only traveling at about 59.3% of its usual speed. So it's a little bit sluggish. We have retrograde Mercury in the same sign. Oh, what's up?
Mars is extremely out of bounds, so it's acting a very like renegade, very out of
Oh, good point.
beyond what it normally does. So I think that's it just screams of more Marsy kind of action. So a little bit more drive, a little bit more aggression, very well might be taking place.
And that Mars is in Cancer, which is a water sign, so more emotionally driven. And because it's Cancer, it's a cardinal sign, so it's not frightened to take that first step either. So, could be interesting. We have Neptune and Venus and Saturn in Pisces, which is in the sign next to Aries. So we say that they're an inversion. It's like those planets don't really know what's going on next door. It's in its blind side, its blind spot. Uranus is also in inversion. So I think that's probably a good thing because the prior
I'm thinking
eclipse,
so.
the lunar eclipse had it was very tightly configured in with that previous eclipse. So yeah, I think this is the very end of our Aries Libra eclipses. We had them running for a while, so this is wrapping up wherever Aries and Libra are in your chart. This is wrapping up those sorts of events. Might have been for about 18 months or so. So there may be tying up of ends to do with those matters. But yes, what's really interesting about this is we have Mercury, which stationed at 9 degrees, which is the same degree as this eclipse degree, on the 15th of March, the day after the lunar eclipse. We had the 2nd of March, we had Venus stationed at 10 degrees Aries, which is again very, very close to this eclipse degree. When Mercury's retrograde, everything's a little bit all over the place. There can be missteps, miscommunications, mix-ups. You have to redo things, retrace your steps, go back to the drawing board. Mercury does retrograde about 3 times a year, so it's not that unusual. But the fact that this is closely tied in with this eclipse at the time, it's soon to go to retrograde back into Pisces, which is a sign of its detriment and fall. But it did station at the degree. It kind of seemed to slow down and stop at this same degree. So for whatever reason, around about 9 degrees of Aries is really being hammered. We had Venus slow down and turn backwards, or appear to turn backwards at 10 degrees. We had Mercury do the same thing, and now we've got this eclipse degree really, really hammering it. So those with
Yeah.
natal planets around about 9 degrees of the cardinal sign, so that's Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, may feel something significant happening at this time. It is a north node eclipse, and as we said, it's a partial eclipse. It's not like the node. You can see the node here at 27 degrees of Pisces. So, that's what, 3, 9, about 12 degrees. It's kind of just made being an eclipse. It very, very nearly wasn't an eclipse. So it may be a little bit weaker, but it's just really significant, that hammering of around about 9 degrees of Aries. Very interesting.
It's definitely a hot degree so if you have any planets that are in the cardinal signs at 9 degrees, you very well might be feeling some effects from these planets. Mercury, the sun and moon, those are some big personal planets.
Yeah.
So something is going to be, coming in or out of your life. Something might be changing around beauty. Something might be changing away around how you communicate. Those are the planets that are involved here, as
Yeah.
well as Mars. With it's the ruler of that eclipse. So, Mars is definitely not out of it. It's definitely has a say in how it's going to be expressed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in Mars's home.
And as Donna pointed out, it's out of bounds. It's also moving at about half its usual speed. So very interesting. We also have Neptune here. It's going to change signs. I'll just animate this chart so we can see. I believe the next day, Neptune is going to move into Aries. Won't be there for long. It'll backtrack into Pisces again. But this is, the first time in probably, I suppose, about 160 years. Yeah, about 165 years it takes Neptune to go around the zodiac. Have you got the dates for when it was last in Aries?
Um, yeah, it's 165 years, so yeah, I have no idea when the last time it was in Aries. But it's 165 years ago, so not too hard to figure out. It's not going to get away from us.
But interesting that, not long after this solar eclipse, one of the outer planets is changing signs. Prior to that, we do have retrograde Mercury conjuncting, which means, they appear to be at the same place. Neptune, which in general is, and it's in the sign of Pisces where Mercury is not strong. Let me bring that up in the chart. I actually did that on the lunar eclipse.
I was just doing math, and 165 years ago was 1860. So that is the time when Big Pharma was coming out and about. And I know here in the United States, there's talk of our medical changing dramatically. So that with that Neptune so close to that eclipse degree, it definitely could have, because Neptune is the planet that I look at. I went through medical astrology. Neptune is that one planet that I look at for medical. I mean, it's the medicine, it's the drugs, it's the venom. It's Neptune has a lot of meanings to it. So, but one of them is our drugs. So
Interesting.
real close with tied in with this eclipse is a little frightening here in the United States.
Well, I'm just thinking too. I mean, 1860, weren't you smack bang in the middle of the Civil War too?
From what I heard, is the same day that Neptune went into Aries was the exact same day. The last time, this is on 1860, was the exact day that the Civil War started. So I know we had some other aspects that were significant with the Civil War and World War II.
Yeah, Uranus going into Gemini is also associated with revolution and all that sort of thing too.
Right,
And
yeah.
we
So
do
all
have,
that. So I'm hearing drums over here. Not really, not official drums, but it just seems very, very Marsy. I'm even
interest,
wearing red.
yeah, interesting with because Uranus will go into Gemini later in the year and it'll duck back and then it will go back into Gemini. But interesting with Neptune and medicine, drugs in particular. I also think of Neptune with autoimmune diseases and all that. And for example, my mum has a lot of autoimmune diseases, and a lot of people do. It's be interesting if there was something significant come through for people suffering from autoimmune diseases. That would be fantastic. What I've got up here on the chart is on the 27th of March, because we have the solar eclipse on the 29th. On the 27th of March, we have that retrograde Venus with Neptune, which can be very lovey-dovey, very knights and shining armor and, manic pixie girls and all sorts of lovely stuff. So that's interesting. And then on the 29th, it looks like just after the eclipse, because you can see the sun here at 9 degrees. We can see the moon at 18 degrees. It will have moved past that eclipse, but still same day. We have Mercury with Neptune. And, Mercury is retrograde, so it's not acting in its normal way. It is in the sign of its detriment and fall, Pisces. So it's not it's not acting as we would expect. And then we have it with Neptune, which is, blurring the boundaries anyway. So could be a lot of crossed wires, misunderstandings, and it doesn't necessarily have to be awful, but just don't expect to get from A to B in, super quick time. Just factor in your time allowances, double, triple, even quadruple check things if they're really super important to you. It's a very interesting time coming up to this eclipse. So not only is 9 degrees Aries seems to be significant, but so does 29 degrees of Pisces, which, the end of a sign, we call it an aretic degree. It's just about to leave that past sign. It can almost taste the next sign, but interesting times indeed. And, as I said, this solar eclipse is wrapping up things for that set of Libra Aries eclipses we had running for about 18 months or 2 years. So could be wrapping up matters to do with those natal houses in your natal chart. So I'll bring up the solar eclipse chart again. And, we have that north node very close at 27 degrees of Pisces, amping up all that confusion and it's just interesting.
You can see all the convergence of all those planets in just a few of those signs. And that's what we're seeing outside when we go outside, and we can see that line of planets that's crossing over the sky, and this is how it looks like in a chart when you're looking at it outside. This is what it looks like. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking too at the time of the solar eclipse, we have Saturn and Uranus in a pretty close sextile. So, Saturn is that, discipline and endurance and restrictions and limitations, and that it's kind of, solid and reliable and dependable and getting everything, laying that solid foundation. And it's making a sextile to Uranus, which is sudden, surprising, innovative. So particularly with Neptune about to go into that Aries degree, it would be really good if there was a big jump forward, something sudden, surprising, shocking to do with drugs. Actually, it's making me think of insulin. I've seen it a couple of times. You see it come up in your feed in Facebook and that. And I remember I wanted to have a look at the astrology of it, and I think I did. I might have a quick look and see if I can find it. They were talking about, I think it was in Canada, with insulin. They went into a ward, and these children were more or less comatose, and because they were in diabetic comas, and went round and put the insulin in them, and just what an incredible thing. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I've got it here. Insulin Trail. 23rd of January 1922. Neptune's in Leo. Interesting that Chiron, the wounded healer, is at 9 degrees of Aries. So maybe it's the 9 degrees of Aries. I don't know. It's making me think of it. Not seeing anything super significant there.
Chiron's still there. Wow. I can see why you would correlate some kind of innovative, great drug.
But I remember reading about it and just thinking, wow, what an incredible thing that must have been. Let me see. Let me just change the chart, the page here for a minute. and see what the eclipses close to that were. Nearest eclipses. I had one at 23 Aries prior, 22 Virgo.
Or Libra.
What is this eclipse that we had? It's 20 something Virgo, isn't it?
Virgo. Yeah. It's at 23 degrees Virgo
Okay, so for this one, the Insulin Trail,
with 22.
Lunar Eclipse is at 13th of March at 22 degrees of Virgo. So that's interesting. And the prior eclipse in the 16th of October 1921 was 23 Aries. Oh, look at that. And then the next solar eclipse is the 28th of March 1922. It's 7 Aries. Let me have a look at and see what Saros series that was under. 1922.
22.
So that was 14th South. So different Saros series, but it's interesting that it's very close to the same degree. Huh.
It is very interesting.
I'll have to see if I can find the post, because it's just like, and I saw it just recently. Like I've only seen it maybe twice over the last 3 or 4 years, but I mean, it made me go and look up when the Insulin Trail happened. And I mean, I didn't have an exact time, but it just sounded like something incredible, going into a ward of children, in comas and coming out, and just
And miraculously, yes.
Children waking up. Just incredible. Fantastic stuff. So maybe with Neptune going into Aries, wouldn't it be fantastic if nothing else, something new for diabetics, but just generally any sort of medical advance is fantastic. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wow.
Hmm.
That would be quite interesting and very helpful.
Interesting. Well, shall we have a look and see what people can expect for the solar eclipse?
Sounds like a good idea.
So if you are an Aries ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your first house. So this is all about you. It could be your health, your vitality. It could be your appearance. It could be your personality. It's how you dawn on people. It can be something as superficial as your wardrobe or your appearance. So there could be new starts, new beginnings. Maybe you've always had long hair and you want to cut it short. And, with Venus retrograde at this time, I would wait until after the Venus retrograde, if that was me. Your hairdresser may not understand what you're trying to tell. And as somebody who's struggled with hairdressers for the past year or so, trust me, yes, they can keep getting it wrong. So, yeah, maybe wait until after Venus is direct again, which will be April 13th, I've got here. Donna very nicely got all our dates here, and you'll be out of the shadow period by May 15th. So that's quite a way away. But if you can hold on to at least April 13th, just don't do anything drastic. You can still go get your hair cut, but don't do anything mega drastic, or I wouldn't anyway. Yeah, new starts, new beginnings. With eclipses, we say that they can eclipse things or people in or out of your life, but this is all about you. So it's more to do with your health, your vitality, your appearance, how people perceive you.
And if you are a Pisces rising, this eclipse and new moon will be happening in your second house. And the second house is your house of the things that you value, things that really support you. So this could be money, this could be food, it could be the things that you can hold on to, and the things that you can pick up and move from one place to another is representative of the second house. And that includes money. And so that's why they call it the financial house. So it's close to the North Node. It is a North Node eclipse, but eclipses still, they walk things in out into your life and out of your life. You have that Mercury so close, and it's retrograde, and it's so close to Neptune. This is not the time to be doing contracts around money for sure. But just, be careful of those things that, and the new moons are seeds that you're planting. So these are not things that are coming to fruition. Doesn't have a lot of strength behind them. The sun and the moon, the sun particularly, have a lot to do with your mental, how your mental facilities work. So you're not having a whole lot of strength here with this eclipse.
And if you are an Aquarius rising, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your third house. So the third house is our siblings, it's our extended family. So this can be aunts, uncles, cousins, it's neighbors, it's our local neighborhood, it's people you may see, on the daily. Maybe you stop in and get a coffee every, weekday, or pick up the paper. Those are people, it's your local neighborhood. It's what you do on a kind of day-to-day basis. It's also short distance travel. It's communications in general. It's short courses and, yeah, early education. So this may have nothing to do with you. Maybe something's going on with a sibling or a cousin. Maybe something big is happening for them. As with all, even new moons and full moons, eclipses are more likely to be impactful if they're happening round about the degree of where the eclipse is happening. So in this case, if you got natal planets around about 9 degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, it's probably going to be a little bit more impactful for you. Yeah, maybe getting a new neighbor, maybe you're moving neighborhoods, it may only be one suburb over, but it's still a new neighborhood to you. It's can really change the dynamic. And maybe you will see that as a significant time, maybe not at the time. You might look back in 2, 3, 5 months and think, oh yeah, that really made a difference. I met some new people and did new things. But yeah, it may eclipse somebody into your life. Yeah, if you have those planets close to 9 degrees of the cardinal signs, it may be a shocking, because eclipses can kind of upset upset the apple cart a little bit, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad ways. It is a North Node eclipse. It is a partial eclipse, and this is wrapping up matters in the Aries Libra eclipses. So this might be wrapping up matters from the last 18 months, maybe 2 years. I'm not sure how long that last series lasted. So maybe it could be as simple as you live somewhere for, 18 months or so, and you move to a new neighborhood and, new people, new environment, and you're really enjoying it.
And if you're a Capricorn rising, this is going to be happening in your fourth house, and things could be eclipsing in and out of like your home situation, your lineage. The fourth house is the house of your parents. It could even be your own house as well, but it has something to do with your home. You might be getting out, throwing out the new carpet and getting new stuff in, or just looking at starting plans for some kind of an overhaul. But these are new things, possibly, or they could be things that are, you might be going from, a home into, an apartment or a condo, or vice versa, but you could be changing your residence. This is all those things that are your starting things, just beginning on this kind of theme that you're working on. If you're a Capricorn rising, it's going to go around the fourth house.
And if you are a Sagittarius rising, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your fifth house. The fifth house is a house of creativity and children. Maybe there's a baby, whether you just find out that you're pregnant or you're actually giving birth. I would expect birth to be more of a full moon thing, but maybe you just found out you're pregnant, just looking to see where Jupiter is to see if there's twins. But it's not super close, so don't stress. Plus, you'll survive. Yeah, this could be something to do. This is a fun house. This is creativity, it's children, it's fun and enjoyment, it's romance, it's socializing, it is sport, it's gambling. Yeah, it's a nice house. Hopefully, it'll bring something nice into your life. And if you've got planets around about 9 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, maybe something a little bit significant, maybe a little bit surprising, but hopefully good.
And if you are a Scorpio rising, this is this eclipse and new moon. So you're starting new things or getting out of, things are coming in and out of your life. This be happening around your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of service. It could also be employees that you might have, or this could be even your pets. So something might be coming, just starting new with around any of these subjects. It could also be like an illness. So if you've got like a little thing, it tends to, you know, when things start off as a little thing with an eclipse, I would definitely get it looked at. I wouldn't just count on that it's going to go away. Make sure that you're doing your due diligence on your health.
Yeah, you got that Chiron in the sixth as well. So good advice. And if you are a Libra ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your seventh house. Seventh house is our closest one-on-one relationships. So this is usually like a romantic partner or could be a business partner, can be very, very close friends. This isn't just your, people that you hang out with every so often. This is like BFF, someone very close. It can also be clients, one-on-one relationships. If you have a one-on-one relationship with clients, this can be applicable there. So there could be new starts, new beginnings to do with those matters. Could be a new relationship. Maybe, there's a new relationship that starts this time. This is the last of the Aries Libra eclipses for a little while, for about 9 years. So if something's been kind of building for the last 18 months to do with your closest one-on-one relationships, whether that's business, relationship, clients, whatever, this may be kind of wrapping up of something. But in a way, in that this is the end of those eclipses, but it's a solar eclipse. So they tend to be about beginnings, new things. So maybe, maybe, maybe it's the end of one partner, beginning of a new relationship, or it could even be, going to the next level with a relationship. So, yeah, interesting. I hope it goes well for you, regardless. I hope it goes well for everyone, regardless of what ascendant sign you're in.
And if you're a Virgo rising, this eclipse and new moon will be happening in your eighth house. And so this will have to do with with other people's money. It could also have to do with your own money, but maybe your partner's money. That's where this house is. That's where the themes of this is. And it's the house of, it is the house of worry. So, you might have a little bit of worry around this, but I wouldn't make all your decisions based on how worried you are. But this could be money that's coming into your house or out. This is other people's money. This could have to do with wills or lotto even. This is, taxes. This is other people's money. So this will be new things that are starting around other people's money.
And if you're a Leo ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your ninth house. Ninth house is the house of foreigners and foreign places. It is a higher education. It is philosophy, religion, other beliefs. It is about things that aren't immediately familiar to us, like the house opposite, the third house. It's what we've grown up around, and our siblings, our immediate extended family, it's early education, whereas the ninth house is things that we kind of have to go a little bit further to explore. And this can include things like esoteric subjects like astrology, tarot. It can also be higher education, and it's also publishing and the law. So it covers a lot of topics. So there could be new beginnings, new starts there. You know, you could be traveling, you could be moving, you could be having more contact with somebody from a foreign place, or who has different, comes from a different culture or has different beliefs to you. It could be exposure to new beliefs, new cultures, new practices. Could have, you know, something to do with the law here, whether that's a lawsuit or, you know, something like that, or publishing. So there could be, if particularly if you have planets around about 9 degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, maybe a little bit of a shocking element to do with one of those topics. But for others, it's just, you know, new starts. Maybe you're signing up to do some higher education, some study, or, you know, you're looking into, you know, the esoteric subjects or a new religion or new belief system.
And if you are a Cancer rising, this new moon is going to be happening. It's a new moon and an eclipse, a solar eclipse. And this is going to be happening in your 10th house. And the 10th house is the house of infamy. It's the house of what you're known for. It could also be your house of your career. So this will be new things that are coming in. It could be things that are also leaving. You could be, eclipsing out of a job, or eclipsing, something is coming, is leaving you for that you're might be known for something, that, like, if you were an artist, you might be retiring, you might be not, painting anymore. So this will be things but it'll be new things that you might be starting as well. So, because it is a new moon, it's things that you're planting seeds for. So, I mean, it could be, the start of a retirement. If you're a Cancer rising, you might be thinking about retiring, and this is where you would, retire. So you would be losing something, but you'd also be gaining an opportunity to plant new seeds.
And if you are a Gemini ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is a nice house. It's groups, friends, and organizations. It's benefactors, people that can assist us. So this could be a new mentor. This could be a new group you join. This could be a new friend. This could be, it's also the house of hopes and dreams. So, you know, maybe you get the chance to do something that you've wanted to do for, quite a while. And, you thought that would be nice, and, maybe an opportunity presents itself at this time, which would be lovely. If that's the case, we do have, if you listen to what we were talking about before we went into these descriptions, there's a little bit of confusion going on with Mercury being retrograde and kind of mixing it up with Neptune, and Venus also being retrograde. So, make sure you've got all the facts and that. But look, it's a nice house. Hopefully it's a nice outcome. There's no guarantees with anything, but yeah, more likely to be impactful if you have planets around about 9 degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. But it could be about some sort of new beginning, because it is a solar eclipse. It does tend to be about new things, planting new seeds. But it's also the end of the Aries, Libra eclipses for a little while, for about 9 years. So it could be wrapping up matters. Maybe you were part of a group, for the past 18 months, 2 years, or whatever. Maybe you're moving to a new group or starting a new group, or but hopefully good things.
If you're a Taurus rising, this new moon eclipse is going to be happening in your 12th house. And the 12th house is things that can undo you. It could also be the house of the larger animals, like horses and elephants, and those animals that you can't pick up and move. So it could be even cows. We have I know we have bird flu in this area, and it's starting to affect our cattle. So this eclipse could have something to do with, things that are new, small. They don't have a lot of strength in them with a new moon. You're just planting seeds, but this could be things that are coming in and out. It's just like eclipsing, something out of your life that would be in the 12th house. This could be also the house of exile. It's the place where we go to write a book. This could be some, a new seed. If you're starting a book, this would be a great thing, because you do have that Mars energy kind of driving it. It's Mars is is now going forward. It has been going retrograde for the last couple of months, seems like. So these it's the house that undoes you. It could also be the house of your retreat, reclusiveness. So you might see all of these themes having to do with coming in and out of your life with the 12th house themes of reclusiveness and things that undo you, or even the hidden enemies is also one of the significations of this house. So those things might be starting up or eclipsing out of your life.
So that is the solar and lunar eclipses. We hope they're good to you. Yeah, you may have noticed we haven't been around much. That's kind of, I've been rather slack. I think Donna would have been like to have been doing more, but I needed a bit of a break. Yeah, so we're thinking about maybe in the future doing not the every new moon and full moon, but certainly the eclipses, maybe the big subjects we might do. It could be interesting to look at Neptune moving into Aries, but maybe a monthly look at the big aspects, planets changing signs or big aspects. If you got any suggestions, certainly feel free to leave them below.
Yeah, there are a lot of big aspects coming up, and a lot of things are like happening like right on top of each other. I think at the beginning of May or the end of May, there's a lot of like, it's like do. It's like a lot of things are happening. So that'll be interesting to take a look at and see where those are going to ride and what's happening. What's where those planets are going to be showing up in what signs.
Yeah, we're
Be very
thinking
interesting.
to maybe doing a series on explaining, like, moon and Aries and what that means for everyone, because that happens, once a month. And, if you're, I don't know, a Capricorn ascendant, when the moon's in Aries, it's in your fourth house, maybe doing a series on something like that, and Mercury through the houses and through the signs, and yeah, a little bit more, what's the word? Evergreen content that is always relevant, and maybe natal signs, like, what it means to be moon in Aries for, your natal chart or something like that. But if you got any suggestions, plus, we have our own little uh, hobby horses and things that we like, and, maybe looking at some more annual perfections. I really like annual perfections, and Donna may like to do some electional or horary or mundane,
Mm.
and things like I'd like to do something on Entisha, Entisha and Contra Entisha. I use those a lot in timing. I find them very interesting in charts. I'd like to look into that with relationship charts, and maybe we'll do some relationship charts, some of the great lovers, and see how their charts match up. That could be interesting too. So, yeah, a little bit of a shift. We had, I think, 3 years of the every month, the new moon and the full moon, just mixing things up a little bit. So, which is appropriate with all the change of signs, the eclipses. And Donna, where can people find you?
You can find me at donnaviastrology.com, and that's my website. And I do have a channel that I have not done a lot on, but there is a few things on the crystal work that I do. I work with crystals, and energy healing is as a shamanic practitioner. So you can get a hold of me through my website and write me, and we can get in contact, and I can do what I can, and hopefully help people. That's the whole purpose of that. So, Lynda, what are you doing? And I'm
Um,
also doing natal readings and astrology as well. So, electional and all that. But that's on my website. It's got a list of like, what is horary? What is electional? What is medical? What can we do? Where's our scope of what can we do with those things? So it's very informative, and I can hardly wait to start doing some of those nitty gritty type of 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 charts that I've been working with, and um, I think you'll find them very interesting. I have a very good electional one that we'll go through soon,
Yes.
so that'll be fun.
Uh,
Linda, what are you doing? Where can people find you?
I am at Scallywag Astrology. I need to get over there and do some work on that. I have been neglecting it. Not really doing any readings at the moment. I think I'll put a pause on those. I have a lot going on, so but yeah, looking to get back into it a little bit more. Need to work on the website more. So that's Scallywag Astrology at astrology.scallywag.com. But like I said, it needs updating. So yes, but some articles over there and that. I'd like to do more articles, I think. So anyway, hope the eclipses are good to you, and take care. Thank you for your comments, your likes, your shares, and yeah, talk soon.